Good evening. How the devil are we? Welcome along to me and my new friend, me. We've got another game tomorrow. Oh, God, tell me we don't. But we do. And it's against Palace. It's at home. We're going to lose it, aren't we? This is Leicester Till I Die TV. I feel like I'm dead already this season. How the devil are you? This is the preview show.
It's time! Strap yourself in, because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts. Till I Die TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
And now, here's your host.
Right, Chris.
All right there. Welcome back. Yeah, Leicester Till I Die TV. We got a match tomorrow. It's back at the King Power. How are the crowd going to react? Well, it depends obviously how Leicester play. I mean, what happened? We played so well against Bournemouth. No, we didn't. We played so well against Forest. You see how even I'm getting confused. We played so well against Forest, and then we cocked it up as always in the second game. Gray's in. Good evening, Gray. How the devil are you? I hope you are well, sir. My new friend, Mini-Me, always wanted a Mini-Me, and here he is. And I want to say a big thank you to my good friend Dan from Turf Moorhouse TV for doing that for me. I wasn't expecting it. Did make me giggle a bit. I've got to say, he's quite good looking. It's Leicester Till I Die TV. You can catch us here. You can catch us on Twitter at LeicesterTID. You can catch us on Twitch, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. We've even got a radio station now as well. Mixcloud.com/LTID radio. And don't forget, follow us on there. We've got a show tomorrow night at 6 o'clock previewing the weekend. Fun banter and music as well. What more could you ask for? I know I'm doing it. So I know that's what else you could ask for. And obviously we are on all your favourite podcast platforms. Here's where you can
watch us on YouTube. Listen on your favourite podcast platform. Or ask your smart speaker to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die. Broadcasting live worldwide.
It is. I'm going to be joined later by Jordan from Eagle-Eyed Football. I've seen him for about ages and ages and ages. So I hope he's well. He's coming in at about 20 past, as is obviously the old wise owl Craig. He will be joining us for giving us his thoughts as well. I'm fine, thanks. Hope you are too. Took the missus out for a birthday meal. Is she still alive? She's a Forest fan. She's a Forest fan. I hope you didn't take her anywhere nice. You know I jest. So what we're thinking about the Palace game, eh? Well, as we always do at the start, and I just need to play around with me knobs here. And I say, don't forget, of course, I did announce it last week. We have got a preview coming up on the show at the end of the season. Brendan Rodgers is bringing out his biography. but we do have a picture of the front cover. There we go. Coaching Soccer for Dummies by Brendan Rodgers, and we've even got a space on the cover there. We did sponsor it because I tell you what, if you're going to follow the way Brendan Rodgers coaches, you've got to be a dummy. How is he still here? How is he still here? Top, I love you. I love what you and your dad have done for this club, but your legacy is going to be going down the pan. Grow a pair of balls and sack him. That's all I'm saying. And I know I'm losing followers on Twitter because of my stance on this, but I don't care. You know, people say, oh, you're saying you're Leicester till I die. Yeah, I am Leicester till I die. I'm not fucking Brendan Rodgers till I die. Let's get perspective on this. Let's have a look, because somebody else has said something here. I'm wondering how the hell we are going to win this game. Well, let's have a look if the stats help us in that at all. Let's bring them in. And here we go. So the pre-match stats here, everybody. We've played Palace 20 times since we've both been in the Premier League on and off. We've won 8. They have won 8. And we've drawn 4. Doesn't really help us at all, does it? But we have won 5 at home and they've won 4 away. I just can't see us winning these games. These are the run of games that we need to win. And I'm not disrespecting Bournemouth. They deserved it. I'm not disrespecting Palace. I think they will actually beat us. Or Leeds or Wolves. But this is a run of games that we should be winning. And if we can't win the of Brendan, as I said, though, 2-week international. Well, you know that money you've put aside, Top, for all the shopping mall. That's where we're going. That is where we. I'm not sure whether they are or not. Challenge out to the club on the BBC on my Tuesday talking point. Do check it out. It's out, believe it or not, every Tuesday. And I did, well, my first sentence this week was, Rodgers, please get out of our club. And I did say that the club will not come on to one of these shows because nobody's got the balls to answer the questions. We have a press officer, do we? I mean, it's hilarious that people have been booking birthday messages for the big screen from Zach Roberts, Zach Rodgers, and Brenda Nout. And so they've banned all birthday messages. And when the Mercury contacted them for a comment, they refused to comment. Maybe they all need to grow a pair of balls at that club now. We were once a great club that everybody looked at and looked at us and said, wow, we love what Leicester are doing. That's the way to run a football club. Yeah, okay. I know there's things have happened since then. COVID, cost of living, all that's happened. Of course it has. It's blown football through the sky. And, you know, some clubs were lucky to survive, etc., etc. But you react to those things. You don't sit there twiddling your thumb going, yeah, I think I'll keep Top another week. I'll keep Brendan another week, see how he's doing. I thought, here we go. Another chance. This is what we did. Do you remember? One at the... We got... do that this season. But this is and Leeds have got more points than us, and they've played a game less. We are stuck with a manager who won us the League Cup, the FA Cup, the worst ever start by a football league, Premier League club. The worst ever start by a Premier League club. Is that any better, guys? Is that better? So I just don't understand why nothing is being done. Let me just check my sound. It looks to be all right. Is that better, guys? Quite. I think it's, believe it or not, it's this microphone. As I turn to look at because I've got two screens and a TV. Oh, it's all very modern here. As I turn to look at this screen, if I don't have it right up close to me, I kind of it should be picking it up, but it's not. So hopefully that's better. So there we go. Look at us sat at the bottom there. Palace in 15th, 9 points. They've scored 10. So they've not scored as many as us, but they've only conceded half what we have scored. We've conceded more goals than anybody else at this time. Terry, it's a good point. Johnny Evans is injured. All right, I'm going to ask you a question, guys. Who would you bring in? For me, it's obvious. But would you bring in a Marty? Would you bring in Vestergaard? Or would you bring in Soyuncu? There we go. Who would you bring in? But that's the reality of it. 4 points. I started this as a joke before the Nottingham Forest game, and it's kind of coming back to bite me on the bum, because that's the record that Derby County hold at the moment. 11 points and 20 goals all season. Now, I'm sure that we are going to beat the 20 goals. Although, let's be honest with you, maybe not if Vardy plays because he doesn't know where the net is. But 4 points? Where are we going to get these other 8 points from to beat the 11? Because I can't see them coming. Forest 5. It's going to be interesting. I can see Forest turning it round. That's the scary thing. I can't see Brendan. Cag says, Gray, it has to be, doesn't it? It has to be. But stubborn arse, Brendan. Did you watch his press conference earlier? Because I didn't. I refused to, because it bores the skin off me. And he would be saying exactly the same thing that he has been saying. Refer to my answer of 3 weeks ago. Refer to my answer of 2 weeks ago. The guy is a wanker of the biggest degree, and he needs to go. And I'm unfortunate timing. Just as Jordan comes into the stream, I'm calling someone. I'll bring him in a second. They're just going to go through the stats a bit more. This is the run-in. So, Leicester, we've won the one. I'd like to say we've won the one in the last 5 games, but we've won one all season. Something we're going to have to do next week. Chelsea, they lost to Newcastle. It was a good draw against Newcastle, in fairness, because they're on fire. Brentford 1-1. Losing to Manchester City. That's one of those teams, isn't it? I can't see another win while Bodgers is here. No, I wasn't interested in his bit. No, I just could. I refused to watch it. Rodgers conference, Jason Bourne asking about Cags and Vestergaard, who was part of the under-23, smashed 7-0 with a Vestergaard own goal. He's a £50 million player playing in the under-23s. Oh, God almighty. Chris, big up, great show last night about the top 10 superheroes. I felt I won. A moral victory for me there. We have Leeds midweek. We do indeed. We do indeed. So, forms pretty much, this game could go either way. That is how, if you just want to have a compare how our seasons are looking for Leicester City on our matches, won, losses and draws, and our goals. And then that is the old Palace ones, just to compare the two. Now, this is the interesting thing, because I was talking to Jack about Jordan. Why am I calling him Jack? Might as well call him Betty. But I was speaking to Jordan on Eagle Eyed Football earlier about Leicester City's goal scoring. Brendan Rodgers likes to make his substitutions 60 plus minutes into the game. That's usually, unless there's an injury. When do we concede our most goals? Oh, look, 60 plus minutes into the game. When you look at Palace, though, and this is the only saving grace, so today. But if you notice the difference there, and I wish I had a pointer, I've said that many times to the ex-wife, I had a pointer, so I can't show it, but at least Palace are scoring in that last 15. We're not. Look, big white gap there. Now, I put this out on Twitter earlier in the week. Has anybody ever thought, as I say, anybody, top Brendan, anybody at Susan Whelan, and I can get this, anybody can get this, it's on the interweb, that you look at this and you think, how come after every time that Rodgers usually makes his substitutions, we concede goals? Because he's shit. I mean, it's there in black and white. It's there in black and white. Those are the season stats. Have a look, read them and weep. They're pretty much, in fact, I can't see them. My eyes are that bad. Let me bring them in. Ball possession, 54 to us, 42 to Palace. Attacks, we can have more attacks. We have more offsides, but only just. Shots on target, paper width between us. Shots off, we've had more shots off, but they're having more shots all in all. Corners, there or thereabouts. Yellow and red's the same. Player rating, again, not a fart in a sway suit between us. So it could end up a draw. It could go either way. Roger's still at Leicester to me. Hiya, True Red. How are you? Welcome in, sir. Doesn't want to give Rodgers the payoff due to income. We've said this before, though, mate. 10 million. If we get relegated, how many million is that going to cost us? More than 10. All that money that is put aside for the redevelopment of the ground around the ground, that'd be wasted. We're not going to do that if we're in the Championship. Maybe he needs to just grow a big pair of round spherical ones top. Maybe he is not his father. Maybe that's what we are discovering. And I love him to bits. I'd have his babies if he walked in here now. You know I would. But on this occasion, he does need to do something. TM, welcome in. Spurs fan there has come in to enjoy our pain, I am sure. Welcome along. It is all very bleak. Yes, it is indeed. Well, look, let me get my co-host in for this evening. I was on his channel earlier, so it's been absolutely ages since I've seen him. Let's welcome him in. It's not Jack, but it is in fact Jordan from Eagle Eyed Football. Good evening, sir. How the devil are you?
Well, it's very good so far. We already had you.
There we go. But no, it's been such a long time since I've seen you. What have you been up to since we last spoke?
Watching, just trying to get as much content out there, trying to improve the quality, and actually starting up fan cams, which seem to be doing pretty well. We're trying to do them after every home game. And we've had a few good guests. We've had our owner, or one of our co-owners on. We've had John Solarco on, and we've had a few a few big names when it comes to Crystal Palace. So everything's going all right.
Good luck with that. And how can people find you, sir?
Yes, they can find us on Eagle Eyed Football on YouTube and the Eagle Eyed Ball on Twitter. I don't know the Instagram, but I think it's probably it's Eagle Eyed Football something.
Yeah, just search Eagle Eyed Football. It does come up. Great channels, guys. One of the best channels out there. We have a laugh and a joke with them.
Yeah, you'll
and
see
of course, it's
myself,
fronted,
Rich, and Nate as well.
It's fronted by an ex-Commodore. So what more could you ask for? But hey, talking about famous faces. Nothing comes any more famous than this. He is my old wise owl. It's the quizmeister himself, Craig. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Chris. How you doing?
Well, living the dream.
How you doing? How you doing, Jordan?
I'm good. How are you? Yeah,
I'm good,
you too, mate.
You see, this is why I have Craig on. First time he speaks to you, he gets your name right.
Unlike you.
Yeah.
I'll just go. I mean, we've gone through the stats and the figures there, Craig. It is bleak, isn't it? It does make bleak reading.
It. I mean, there's no way of getting around it at the moment that we're not in the best of positions, are we? What I'm trying not to do is get wound up by anything that is just speculation, because it makes no difference, to be honest. Whatever we think, whether we think positively or negatively, it makes absolutely no difference whatsoever. So I'm trying to stay positive because, like me, Chris, we've been here before, we've seen it all before, and we've survived. It doesn't make it any more palatable, but there's a dose of realism. What I'd like to know is all these, because we live in an age of social media, all these sort of things that are put out there on social media suddenly become fact. I mean, I haven't heard it from anyone that it's a £10 million payoff. It just seems to have been out into the public domain and everybody's running with it. It could be $1 million. No one knows, but it's all of a sudden it's become fact.
It has, and I mean it's a long. I suppose we've all grabbed at it. I've grabbed at it because it's the only figure to grab at. Because our everybody at the club is hiding behind closed doors and refuses to come out, and speak to anybody. So you have to grab at what you see. Maybe if they were, had the bottle to come and speak to people, then we'd have the answers. We know Brendan's not on £10 million a year. We've had that disputed by one of the more professional journalists, Rob Tanner at The Athletic. So we know that's not true. But all we know is it's going to cost us more in relegation, even though we'll get the payoff for going down, which I still don't agree with. And all that building that we've got planned for that land, we're not going to want to do that in the Championship, are we?
I think they'll still do it. I think they're in it for the long haul. I don't think they have relegation in their plans. So, it may take a little longer than necessary, but I don't think they're suddenly going to ditch everything and walk away, to be honest, because it's all part of a longer term sustainable plan. I think this has taken them all by surprise, I think. And, let's face it, I don't think any of the fans were ready for what's happened this season. I don't think the club were either. And I think we probably have to take that into account, that all of a sudden, let's assume that he's not going to survive. The next appointment, based on everything else that you've just said, Chris, about all the infrastructure that's been, the next appointment is critical. So it's not just Deitch is available, so-and-so is available. You can't look at it like that.
Every next appointment critical?
Pardon?
Isn't every next appointment critical? Because you're not sacking the manager if you're doing well, are you?
Yeah, but there's some more than... I would say that this is more critical than sacking Ranieri was.
We sacked Ranieri when we were 17th and still in the Champions League.
Yeah, but I think this, looking at where we are, and there's no signs of anything. We still had a league-winning team there that he just couldn't get hold of. This is a little bit more critical, I would suggest.
Jordan, I mean, what as a fan looking outside at Leicester, and I know you don't know, we talked about it on your show about what happened summer and FFP and all that, but looking from the outside, are you surprised at where we are and how it's going for us this season?
I think, bearing in mind that you guys were told that you're in FFP troubles on the last day of the window, I fully understand it, because I'm guessing that there was players that have been scouted. There's been proposals to players. Brendan Rodgers has been getting in contact. Your scouting leads probably been getting in contact with players, convincing them, thinking, yeah, look, it's a good project. Come here. We've won the league already. And we're currently in... Are you guys in the Europa League this year?
No, thank God.
Well, we won the FA Cup. We've been in Europe a few times. We've been pushing for Europe the last couple of years. So I'd say we're definitely a stable Premier League team that are pushing the top 6 right now. Why couldn't you come in and make an impression? But obviously, with that short little time frame, you haven't had a chance to get everyone to know earlier. I think if you got people to know earlier, you definitely look in the free agent market. You'd be able to blood some youngsters during pre-season to get them more up to speed and ready, just in case if you have an injury crisis, which you guys are having right now, I believe. It would set you off for a bit better stead for the league.
And I mean, we do a show every start of every season. I don't know if you do, sort of where every team will finish the league. I don't know if you did one or not, but did you foresee Leicester being in a relegation battle?
I think as an outsider looking in and not knowing much about Leicester, apart from the players that you guys have, looking at it for man, you should not be where you are. I think if at the start of the season I was to predict where you guys would have been, it probably wouldn't have been too outside of a shout if I predicted you guys to be top 10. But I do remember seeing that there were no signings made and that Fofana was leaving. So I don't know. I probably would have predicted a 14th, 13th finish. But I would have never predicted what's happening to you guys right now.
I mean, every season you seem to be perennial relegation strugglers, but never seem to be in trouble, if you know what I mean. Because I'm just looking now at your last few seasons. I mean, I think 14th's the lowest. Oh no, well, 2004 you finished 18th, but that's going back quite a bit. But since then, when you've been in the Premier League, you've always been 11th. And yet, again, are you disappointed with your start to the season?
No, I'm actually pretty optimistic. If you look at the teams that we've played, I think having 9 points at this point in the season, bear in mind who we've played, is actually a very big achievement, in my opinion. We've already got Arsenal, Chelsea, City, and another team. I can't remember, another big team out of the way already. Liverpool, that's it. So we've already played 4 of the
easily
big
forgotten
6.
Liverpool, aren't they?
Well, we got a draw against them, and honestly, it's a bit of a here and there.
Craig, we've had the same thing, haven't we? We've had Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham, Man United.
To be fair, I'm going to say, we're probably I think we're the only team we've had to play every team. Every team we've played has been above us. So
it's not difficult.
Exactly. That's what I mean. So we've had it really tough.
Yeah, I think apart from the Leeds that we played, I think every single team we've played has been top
Jordan.
10.
Oh, is he going? Is he back?
I think you're gone.
Hey,
everyone's going.
I think Chris is going, not me.
Yeah, I think Chris is being Chris's batteries are draining. I think that's the problem. He's on air so much.
My batteries have been recharged so often, the past being able to be recharged at all. I mean, but you still got a game in hand.
Yes.
Palace, you're on 9 points. Do you look at this game, Jordan, thinking this is Leicester? Look at where they are. We can win this.
Be honest.
Playing against Leicester is very hot and cold. We have absolutely smashed you a couple, but that was a good few years ago now. I'm not sure. I think the turn of form, even though you guys had a very disappointing game against Bournemouth, I think you were still pretty impressive in the first half. I don't think that gets credited enough. But I think it'll be wrong to not back my team, to not say that I don't think we will win. I'm making a journey up myself. I try and go to as many games as possible. But I've never been to the King Power before. I'd like to think that my first visit there will be a win. But we'll see what happens. Yes, we were talking about this on our stream. This is incredible. It's neck and neck, really is.
Yes, yeah. I mean, let me go the right way. The thing that worries me. Just get out. There we go. Let me just get it up. I can see my internet seems to be playing up. So if I am going, I apologise, everybody. That was Derby County with the worst ever Premier League season. We've just become the worst ever starters to a Premier League season. Where are those 8 points coming from, Craig?
It's coming from the goals column. I think that's it. I think we've looked dangerous in attack, and that's the bit that gives you a little bit of hope that there are going to be games where we can outscore our leaky defence. I think if we weren't scoring and we were losing, I think there'd be, I think the alarm bells would just be ringing off the walls. But the fact that we have scored, I think there's only about 4 or 5 teams scored more goals than us this season. So it's a matter of being able to get that balance right between shoring up the defence but continuing to play on the front foot and score some goals. But that's the bit that gives me a little bit of hope.
We've scored 15. You've got to go up to Brentford in 11th, who have scored 16. Fulham have scored 14. Bournemouth have scored 8. And then obviously they're all above us. But it's the 24 we've conceded that is the concern. And we're going to be picking, well, not obviously, but we are going to be picking the team as we always do at the end of the show. But Johnny Evans might not be playing. I mean, surely he's not going to be picking a Marty, is he?
Who knows?
Do you think it could be Vestergaard? I mean, he's good at scoring goals, isn't he?
Yeah, we've I think we're long past trying to guess what Rodgers may do. Although I think if you basically go on what's the sensible thing to do and then flip it, that's probably a good chance of what Brendan will do. So yes, I think he will play a Marty. Because he doesn't talk confidently about anyone else who may come in. But I threw this up about Johnny Evans. The last 2 games that I've seen him, or the 2 home games, he was looking like towards the end of the games he was holding his thigh, and he's managed to get through them. So it's no real surprise to me that he may be doubtful.
And we've said this from day one, haven't we? That when he is injured, and he is going to get injured, every player can get injured, but at his age, it is going to take him longer to get fit, and we need to have a decent replacement. And that decent replacement, for me, and this is obviously football's about opinions, for me, our obvious replacement isn't even getting on the bench.
Yeah, he's backing himself into a corner, but he's been doing that all season. I mean, a centre half pairing of Farce and Soyuncu would be
Hairdresser's dream.
entertaining to say the least. I would be putting a yellow card double on it, that's for sure. But it would be the type of defending that would get the crowd going, that's for sure. Aggressive and on the front foot. But I don't know what his options are. Although I would say, when Amarty's started games, particularly last season, he was pretty solid, and he was the one who was doing most of the talking and most of the organising. I think it's when he's brought on to games that he looks more vulnerable, because it seems to take him time to get to the pace of the game. You know, he's not the best with the ball at his feet, but when he started games, he's been pretty solid. So who knows?
Jordan, we're having a go at Rodgers here. Patrick Vieira came in last season, and I've got to be honest with you, I thought he was going to struggle with it being his first season in the Premier League. At the end of the day, he finished a very credible 12th. And I thought, okay, you're going to kick on from that. How pleased are the Palace fan base with Vieira? Surely that there's no rumours there about Vieira, is there at all?
So I think we'll go back to the start of that question. I think when Vieira was appointed, I am definitely guilty of saying, why have we got this guy? He's got no Prem experience. He got sacked from MLS. He got sacked from the French League. Why the hell are we trying him in the Premier League? It's going to go all wrong. And I think that was all sparked from how we nearly got Lucien Favre as well as our manager. He took, I believe he took Nice to Europa League football. And he also got Dortmund to actually beat Bayern in the league, I believe, or at least run them very close. I'm thinking, how the hell are Palace looking at getting someone like this to be their manager? And then to go from that to Patrick Vieira, we're thinking, oh gosh, we've bloody Allardyced it again, haven't we? That's what we're thinking. But credit to Vieira, man. The players that he's looking, that him and Dougie Friedman have been scouting, I think you definitely got a shout out to Dougie Friedman as well. Ex-player, was our ex-manager, but then left to Bolton. But he's come back. He's our sporting director now, and he has been doing the best job possible. We've been scouting amazing players. We've got Eze for 15 million. We've got Mark Gay for 20 million. We've got Michael Elise for 8 million. They're doing incredible business. And some of these players are worth a hell of a lot more now. Like Michael Elise turns 20 in December. He's still 19 years old, and he's smashing up the Premier League. And what's he worth now? A 19-year-old, I don't know, 50 million plus right now in today's market. But Vieira's smashed it. He's had a complete change of style to Crystal Palace. We were long ball, played very similarly to Stoke. Like, you had big guys, just hump it long and hope Benteke gets on the end of it. That's sort of how we played. But now we're playing nice football. Zaha is not the only guy in this team anymore. We've actually got outlets other than him, which is a joy to watch. It's not only pass the ball to Wilf and hope for the best. It's actually, we can play football now, and we've got the players to play really nice football now. And when we're attacking, we've got players which play some very silky smooth football. You got Eze, you got Zaha, you got Edouard. I know you guys were linked with him, and you got Elise as well. You still got some great players on the bench and youngsters coming through. So Vieira's done a fantastic job, and I think that this season is, I wouldn't say it's about kicking on. I think this is just staying his second season, staying stable. And then I think after the season, that's when we'll kick on.
Yeah. I just want to remind everybody, don't forget the end of the season, Brendan Rodgers. I did mention it at the start. Brendan Rodgers' biography is out. We have got an early preview of the cover. There it goes, Coaching Soccer for Dummies. So be sure to sort of pre-order. It's pre-orderable now on Amazon. Let's just catch up with a few comments. We've not had some comments for a while. Terry did ask the question, have Palace sold their full allocation?
We sold our allocation, and then they opened up a new block, and I think that sold out as well. So I think we're taking. I think you only gave us 2,700 tickets, and I think we sold it.
Well, hey, well done to those guys for the away fans. They do go through a lot, don't they? Neil, good evening. How are you? Don't forget, Palace lost 7 games from the start of the season without scoring a goal and survived.
Yeah, it's chairman from our channel.
When was that? Was that recently?
That was the season where we started the season with Frank de Boer. We lost 7 games. I think we lost 5. We sacked de Boer, and then we got Hodgson in, and then we lost another 2. And our first win that season was against Chelsea. I think that was the season after they won the league very convincingly.
I suppose there's hope for us, Craig.
Well, it is. I think the key there was though that they changed manager.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to say it, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll say it before you do. So,
Gray says there, I have been in the pain for 55 years. Matty's in. Good evening, Matty. Evening, lads. Surely you can beat Palace. Do you honestly, mate? I don't think we can beat anybody at the moment. And I've asked you before. Please stop calling me Shirley. Boom. Thank you. I'm here all night. Gives us 46 years of fan. I've been feeling the pain for 68 years.
65 years. What was the pain the other 3 years?
We won't go into that. That's for the post-midnight show.
Yeah.
Everybody's feeling sympathy for Giza. Didn't you get 70 million or so for Fafana? Yeah, I mean, we know with any sale, don't we? I mean, a proportion of that has to go to St Etienne. I'm sure they would have had a sell-on clause if they weren't stupid, just as I'm sure we have in the Chelsea deal. So we wouldn't have got 70 million. And you got agents' fees, and that was probably 30 million.
I think the whole payoff thing is a total red herring. I don't think that's got anything to do with it. If they wanted to get rid of him, they would get rid of him. And I think the bottom line is that they're giving him every chance to turn it round, and he's running out of chances. I think that's the bottom line.
The old enough string, he'll hang himself.
Yeah, essentially, you know.
That could be interesting. The problem is, though, it's gambling. It's gambling with the whole club's future, though, isn't it? Because there's no guarantee that a manager comes in that when that happens, because we always said, and I said at the start of the season, there'll be a lot of managers departing during the World Cup because that's when clubs will be looking and thinking, well, right, 4 weeks now, let's get a new manager in. He's got 4 weeks, to get used to the players that haven't gone to the World Cup, but also get a feel for the club. A couple of games, and then we've got the January transfer window. But there's been a lot of clubs haven't even waited for that. But
I think, I honestly think Rodgers won't walk away. I don't think that's going to be it. But I think that if we don't win these 2 games, and that's nothing against Palace and nothing against Leeds, it's the fact that they're both teams who are in the bottom half of the table. And if we're going to get out of it, we've got to be beating these teams, particularly at home. If it was away, it would be a different matter. If he can't win both of these games, then I think that Brendel will start to think that he can't get anything out of these players. And then I think that becomes a different conversation that he's having with Top. And that old mutual agreement scenario may crop up where everybody just says it's for the best of everyone that we just part ways, because he can't continue and continually think that he can turn it around if in these 2 games he doesn't see anything that makes him believe it and makes the fans believe it. And we know it will get really toxic if there's a bad result at the weekend.
I was prepared after the Forest game to say, right, okay, let's see this the first of the winnable games, and that's no disrespect to the other clubs. And we thought, hey, maybe, but look, Rich is in. How the devil are you, Rich? Eagle-eyed football. Jordan's channel there. Hello, is it me you're looking for? I've been a bit of a ghost. Hope all is well. Well, it's certainly not been easy for us, Rich. See what I did there? But we can, just sail on. Just sail on. I'm running out of Commodore songs that I can remember.
Well, you're running out of Commodore fans that anybody of a certain age might remember. I can see Jordan's just sitting there looking blankly, thinking, "What the hell is he?"
I've got no clue. I've got no clue whatsoever.
If anybody obviously is, that do get over to Eagle-eyed Football, check it out, because they do have Lionel Richie working for them on camera. And if we beat you, we will be dancing on the ceiling. Who is in? Hello there. Saw you earlier on Eagle-eyed Football. Nice to you to pop. He
started his own YouTube channel the other day, I believe.
Oh, well, good luck with that, mate. Good luck with that. Virginia's in. Hello. Everybody's saying hello to everybody else. Eagle-eyed Football, I mean, we would have if that goal stood, which it should have. The ball had gone in the net. It'd have been a goal, you know. I think everybody's saying hello. Rogers won the FA Cup with technically the same squad. It's just gone stale. It isn't working anymore because you're looking forward. You're being found out too easily. So says the Forest fan. Yeah, true. I'm still hurting from the fact that we were both on that show last night and we agreed so much about our choice of superheroes. So I'm allowing you to get away with a few things tonight. Oh, and Gray comes in. He's got my sense of humour. Let's hope we're dancing on the ceiling Saturday night.
And all night long as well.
You see, if you go on long enough, you drag people into the jokes. Jordan, what are the weak parts of Palace's game? I would have asked Craig this, but we'd be here till about 4 a.m. But what are the weak parts of the Palace's game and team that Leicester could potentially exploit?
I think place you can definitely exploit is the right back. Joel Ward, brilliant servant to the club. This is his 10th year at the club, but we've actually had a pretty severe injury crisis at that right back position specifically. Natty Klein's not looking good after the Chelsea game.
You did say that earlier. Yeah,
he got stretchered off. We bought a new centre back, which can also play right back, called Chris Richards. He went to go training with America and got injured as well. And we've got another fullback, which we bought from West Brom a couple of years ago, who we put on a 3-year deal, and he's played 9 minutes of Crystal Palace first team football, and this is the last year of his contract, so he is just a walking injury. So I'd say that is the weakest point of our team. But I also say a way that you could exploit us is if you press us very, very fast, like put us under pressure straight away, we crumble a little bit. We grow into games. We don't start off well. We never have started well. It's a Crystal Palace thing to not start well. And I think another thing is crosses into the box. Our goalkeeper isn't the best as well. I think most of the Palace fan base right now is wondering how he's still starting and we're not starting Sam Johnstone yet. Because Gaeta, he's been a brilliant servant to the club. It's his last year in his deal, so we're letting him see it out. Unfortunately, we play a very possession-based style of football, which you need someone that's good at kicking, and he is not. You'll play a ball back to him. If he needs to hit it on the first time, he'll shank it every single time. And also, if you put a ball into the box from a corner or from a cross, he will not come out and get it. He will stand on that goal line. So if you put balls in the box and you get your head on it, you've got every chance of scoring if you don't hit it right.
Yeah, don't worry about that, Jordan. Yeah.
I'd say those are the weak points in our team.
Gray says there, let's hope it's easy on Sunday morning. If only we were playing Sunday morning, but we're never good on a Saturday morning, are we, Craig?
Well, at the minute, we're just never any good.
Well,
I don't think it matters the time or the day.
But if we win, we will be partying all night long.
Yeah, we've done that one. Come on, let's.
Did I? Have we done that one?
I did that one. Chris.
Did you? I was so shocked that you were actually doing one. I will give you that one then.
Yeah.
I'll
tell you what. I
one.
mean, talking about Palace, I really like Elise. I think he's a great signing. I thought he was great last season. He's just going to get better and better. Wilf always seems to have a good game against us, which is annoying. I've been a little bit disappointed with Eze, I must admit. I know he got injured, didn't he? I think has he only had a couple of games back from injury?
No, so he got injured. He got done his Achilles, and he had a very fast recovery from it. I think he fully recovered in 6 months from a snapped Achilles.
Yeah.
So he did extremely well. Last season he came back about Christmas time, but you could tell he wasn't ready. He wasn't committing, and he wasn't putting all his weight on that leg. But this season, I think he's starting to come good again. You saw it on Sunday last week. The goal he took, it was so composed, and his dribbling has not left him, and he's doing very well this season so far.
I thought his goal was great. You're right, his composure. But I thought in the rest of that game, I thought he was off it, and I must admit.
Yeah, he was. He did nothing other than score.
Exactly, and I was, as I say, I haven't seen a lot of him this season, but he was disappointing for me in that game. He just didn't. It didn't look like his attitude was right as well. He seemed to be. It's like standing too close to Wilf. It's starting. He's, seems to be coming off on him that he just didn't seem to be, putting it in a lot. I would say maybe he's still protecting that injury. I don't know, but it was a great finish. I tell you who I do really like though is Anderson.
Yeah,
I mean, that's an old-fashioned centre half if ever there was one. He looks like someone who just loves defending, and what he did to Nunez was it Liverpool was fantastic, old school. Just wind him up the whole game until he snapped, and that's a concern for me. I think if we're playing one up front. Whether it's Jamie maybe not so much, but if it's one up front and it's Daka, I'm not sure he'll be getting a kick out of Anderson, because Anderson will just be all over him, whether the ball's there or not. And I like him a lot.
Well, the thing is with Anderson that most teams don't really think about when they think about a centre back is his passing.
Mm-hmm.
His passing is incredible. I tell you, when you're watching the match, whenever he's got the ball, just know he's hitting a diagonal ball across the pitch, and it's going to land at the winger's foot every time, without fail.
Yeah. No, I really like him. But that seems to be a thing of. I think he's quite unusual in Scandinavian defenders, because I've said this before to you, Chris. We've got a classic one in Vestergaard. That they are decent footballers, but I think most of them lack a little bit of physicality. But I don't think you can accuse Anderson of lacking any physicality. He looks like he loves the physical side of the game.
Yeah. I mean, dare I ask you this, Craig? What are the weaknesses that Palace could exploit at Leicester? Do you still feel nervous at corners? And can I just say, I do hope that Easy there, like we said, doesn't get a hat trick, or it'll be once, twice, 3 times an Easy.
Yeah, back to your earlier question, Chris.
Yes.
We've never scored from a corner this season, so...
Oh, thanks. Oh, great.
Yes.
Actually, no, that's a lie. Anderson did against City.
It was going to happen, wasn't it, Craig? It was going to happen.
I mean, I'm less nervous, but I still, I don't think, again, we haven't got a goalkeeper who leaves his line. I think from that aspect, Schmeichel has coached Ward very well. To just not come off his line at all, and when he does come off his line, it's usually to act as a sweeper keeper, and then he's in like 3 minds as to what he should do. I think our best chance is if you play like you say you're going to, Jordan, and you're slow starters, because we came out of the blocks pretty much against Forest quite quickly, albeit we could have gone a goal behind, but I think I think the crowd was ready for that game. I think the players were ready for that game. There was a lot on it. So I think we need to start quickly. But if not, confidence is such a fragile thing that the longer the game goes on and we haven't scored and you build your way into it, then it's going to be, it could be a tough afternoon.
I mean, an early goal, Craig, to Palace, is that going to see the crowd turn?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it shouldn't. You know, your reaction should be to get behind them, because at the end of it, whatever you think about Brendan, that's for later that evening. It's not for the 90 minutes. The 90 minutes should be about doing everything you can as a fan, and it's all you can do as a fan. The only influence you have in reality as a fan during that 90 minutes is to get behind the team and really try it. But that has to come from the team. You know, it is very difficult for a crowd to get up when it's flat on the pitch. So the players have to come out with an attitude that gets into the crowd, and then hopefully the two of them together can carry us through to 3 points.
Gray says here, KP will be toxic. Unfortunately, it could well be. I mean, Craig, you're not this Brenda Nout, are you, or Zach Rogers that's been posting these?
No, no, I'm not. And yeah, again, that just seems to be another silly story that's come out from somewhere, doesn't it?
Oh, it's spread. I was in absolute tears. But basically, Jordan, I say Brenda Nout is obviously Brenda Nout, and Zach Rogers is obviously Zach Rogers. And people have been requesting, because they ask us, don't they? The club very kindly ask us to, you know, and we pay 20 quid to put birthday greetings up on the big screen in the during the game, and people have been sending them in. I mean, how embarrassing would that have been had that sneak through?
Well, that reminds me of when we was in lockdown, and I think wasn't it Leighton Orient that printed like cardboard cutouts of the people, and someone put bloody Bin Laden in the stands, didn't they? Well, that was hilarious. And no one even thought.
So Rich is liking that as well. Where do you see your season going, Jordan? I mean, you know, from where you are now, as the song says, can things get better for you?
I think that the Leeds game was the first game that is sort of like a catalyst to what's to come, in the sense of we've now got a run of 7 games, which we deem as, I wouldn't say winnable, but every game for the next 7 games, we should be picking up points from. We're not playing anyone from the top 6 in all those games. So I think depending on what happens, especially as we've got the best start we can get against Leeds, kicking it off with 3 points, I think that if we do well in this little run, I wouldn't be surprised if you see us, I don't know, if we do well, maybe already top 10 by Christmas, maybe. But yeah, exactly what Rich says here. It depends on these next couple games. If we do badly, we are going to be panic stations. But right now, we started it off well. Let's hope to carry it on that little run that we're going on. And if so, I'm going to be looking forward to the rest of the season.
Craig, have you got your crystal ball handy? Is it all polished and sparkly?
I've been polishing it just off screen.
I thought I could see movement. I mean, first question is, are we in a relegation battle? We are now. Are we going to be all season? And when do you think, if it doesn't improve, he will go?
As I say, I think he's got these 2 games. I think, personally, I think he has to win them both. I think anything less than 4 points, because I think if he wins against Palace and gets a point against Leeds, that may be enough to give him a stay of execution. If he only gets a point or he loses against Palace, I think it all comes down to the Leeds game. But I think he has to get 6 points. I think the club will probably give him the opportunity of getting 4. But after that, it's either, okay, you've got back-to-back returns from 2 home games, then you've got to kick on. But that, I mean, it's not far until we've got Man City, so it could all, the wheels could all come off again. But I don't know. I think it's about the manner of the performance. You know, if these players are playing for him, then that helps him. If he can't get a tune out of them, then it doesn't matter what manager you are. If you lose the ability to inspire your team, you have to just hold your hands up and walk away.
I've had a dig at Top these last few shows, and not in a nasty way. Like I said, if he was to walk in here now, I'd have his children. Obviously, I mean, it's brilliant what him and his dad have done for the club. My worry is that everybody looked at Leicester as this fantastically run club, and you know, Jordan, I'll come to you with this one. Do you now look at Leicester? I mean, is he going to lose his legacy at Leicester? Are people now looking at Leicester and thinking, well, maybe they're not all that?
I think you can't. I don't think you can lose the legacy. I think you can lose the charm, which I think is slightly different. I feel like the charm is more of the here and now. But I think you'll look back on it in a couple of years and think, wow, he's done this. We've won the league. We've won the FA Cup. Even after your owner, his dad, tragically died in the helicopter. Wasn't he? He was even leaving the King Power, wasn't he?
It was after the West Ham game, yeah.
So it's all very deep rooted into this club now, and I think it will go down in history for Leicester what these guys have done. But I think maybe the charm or how it's going right now is making everyone not think as positively of what he's done beforehand, when I think that shouldn't be the case. I think what happened before should be celebrated, and this is just a tough time that you guys need to get through.
It's the same question to you, Craig. Do you think he'll lose his legacy?
No, I don't. I think any talk, any thought of that is preposterous, to be honest, because, you know, he could take us down 2 or 3 divisions, but we still won the Premier League. You know, that you can't suddenly forget what we did, and there can be no greater legacy. You know, what else could he have done other than that? So for me, that is just no, not at all. What you're seeing is don't you? Yeah, what you're seeing is a younger man who hasn't had that experience of running a football club, of running a business. You know, he was second in command at his other businesses. He wasn't running King Power. You know, his dad was. He wasn't running Leicester City. His dad was. And that comes with experience. And making ruthless decisions isn't easy, you know, particularly when you're inexperienced at doing it, because he knows what's riding on it as well. And sometimes, you know, in life, most of us, if we've got a tough decision to make, we will stretch it out for as long as we can and hope that everything else turns around rather than forcing us to make that decision. We all do it every day in our lives, or any tough thing. Should we move to a new job? Oh, I'm not sure. Better off I'm staying here. You know, whatever it is. So it's got to be difficult for him. And I think it's harsh that we're not understanding the psychology a little bit more of how difficult it is. They would have thought they've got a guy who's the best person for the job in bringing younger players through with the training ground, all of this. And they are desperately clinging to the hope that he can turn it round. But it will come to a point. And I think it's after these 2 games. If he doesn't do the job, I don't think he'll have any choice, to be honest.
Yeah. Before we come to the score predictions, and then we'll let Jordan go and we'll pick the full Leicester team. Talking of legacies, a guy that is very much linked with you. He owned you. He lost his fortune with you, and he's very vocal. And I absolutely, you love him or hate him, he's definitely Marmite. Whether I agree with him or not, he talks a lot of sense. What are Palace's thoughts on Simon Jordan on TalkSport?
I think, and I think all Palace fans will agree, he talks a good game, but everything he says he never implemented. So he is probably one of the biggest hypocrites out there, if you ask me. And with some of the things that he was talking about, such as the pay-as-you-play contracts, which is what he enforced so much, it turned away so many players and his anti-agents thing, because he was so hard to work with that we couldn't sign anyone because the agents didn't want to speak to him and the players didn't want to join the club because they thought, oh, if I'm injured, I'm not getting paid my full money. Why would I want to sign for these guys? So, and also he ran us into bloody bankruptcy. Like we were outside the Lloyd's Bank chanting Palace to try and get anyone to come and buy this club. And thank God for Steve Parish that he came in and just bought us out outright. Because put it this way, if he didn't come along, Simon Jordan would have made his boyhood club no more. And what can you say about that? An owner, which is a fan, that runs a club into the ground. That's no fan.
But do you think he deliberately would have set out to do that? I think it happened. And let's be honest with you, he lost his business and lost a lot of money as well.
Yeah, but he should have. I feel like that it all went downhill all because of his ideas and his way of implementing it. I don't think that the ideas were that bad. I think that if you look at it in a very broad sense, you don't look into it further. Pay-as-you-play contracts, it makes sense, because why would you pay someone if they're not playing? Like, for example, I think he's been quoted saying, why would I pay a striker 100 grand a week if he's not scoring goals? Which is a fair enough point. But if you're not going to pay him and the player's going to think, well, if I'm not playing well, I'm not going to get paid my money. So why would I want to come to this club?
I suppose, having said that, having worked in sales for most of my life, there are a lot of commission-only positions out there. But that's the risk you either take. I totally agree with you. I would never work on a commission-only basis because we all have bad weeks, and I had plenty of them. And I still want to know that I've got a wage at the end of the day. But it was just interesting because, like I say, he was a boyhood fan of your club. He owned your club. I was interested in your thoughts, but you can see those two words down at the bottom there. And if you're in the chat, and 20 of you are, please remember to press the likes. Thank you to all the Palace fans that have popped in. We don't just do Leicester content here. The guy below me there, the wise old owl, is the quizmeister. He can test your knowledge. So if you're ever up for a quiz, Jordan, we've got a great one this season. Pick and mix.
I think Rich did it last year, didn't he?
I think he did, which is why I'm asking Jordan this year.
Yeah, I remember he after he'd done it, he came on our Eagle Eyed Football group chat and said he messed it up royally, if I remember correctly.
Possibly. So yeah, please subscribe to the channel if you are new. We welcome supporters from any club and any colour, but it is score prediction time. And we have a prediction league on the website, lcfc.com, and these are the score predictions that we have gone for. Brad has gone for 3-1. I earlier actually went on Jordan's channel and went for a Leicester loss, as I did in the prediction league. But in this prediction league, I thought, sod it. Nobody's having a good season. I'm going to go for a 3-2 to Leicester. Craig, 2-1. Steve Lynex, the ex-players, 1-0. Ian Marshall thinks you're going to beat us 2-1. Jerry Taggart's gone for a draw. Steve Walsh has gone 2-1. And Shut Up Alexa. And Ian Wilson has gone for a win to Palace as well, 2-1. Typical bloody woman, never shuts up. Brad, Craig, you've gone 3-2-1. Still confident with that?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tense game, to be honest. And, it wouldn't surprise me if we have a fast start, we get a couple of goals up, and then we're just hanging on. It wouldn't surprise me at all. But again, I think the players know, what's at stake here. If they want the manager to be around, then they have to put a performance on. If they don't put a performance on, it's like their way of saying, excuse me, we're not too bothered if he goes, to be honest. So it's all in the attitude. You need to see attitude on the pitch that says, we believe in this manager, we want this manager, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that he stays. Come on with a half-hearted attitude. To me, that just gives you that tells you what's going on in the dressing room. So I believe in the players, and I think they're just going to snatch a.
And what's that Forest win for the fans, if you like, because they owed it us for the FA Cup, and now maybe they realised what that game in particular meant to us.
As I say, I think I think that whole thing was made for that result. It was a local derby. Everything was riding on that. The atmosphere was great. They had to come out and put on a performance. And I'd said if these games were the other way around, if we'd have had Palace that day, I'm not sure it would have been as supportive if everybody would have been pulling in the same direction. I think the fact that it was Forest meant we had a different villain. Going into this game, Brendan's the villain. The previous game, Forest were the villains.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's really important that we get off to a strong start, and we hopefully will get our noses in front and then hang on.
You've no doubt, and I think if my memory serves me right, are going to predict a Palace win, Jordan.
I mean, it'll be rude not to back my team, right? Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 3-1 Palace. I think that it's at the King Power. I think fans are going to be sold out, so that's a statement to the players as well. And as you showed in the stats, it's very, very, very close between us for wins at the King Power. I think it's four wins for both of us there. It could go anyway, but I'm going to say it's going to swing our way, just because I've seen us play very well there, and I think we've seen some very good goals. We've seen Zaha love scoring at the King Power as well.
It's set up for Edouard, isn't it, Craig? It's set up for Edouard to come on and get the winner. If Leicester do go ahead, Jordan, because we spoke earlier and we spoke on your channel about that the opposition almost put the ball in their own net to give us the lead because they know we crumble when we've got the lead. But if we go ahead, how will you react? How do you think the Palace fan, not the Palace, how will the Palace players react?
I think that is an incredible question, because I think we don't start playing football until we go a goal down. We turn it on completely if we go down. If we go ahead, it's sort of, we start coasting. We don't crumble. We just start coasting. And then the second an equaliser hits, we're on again. So it seems to be that we have to wait for someone to score against us for us to actually play football. I'm just going to hope that that's not the case on the weekend. But that's sort of how Crystal Palace has been and how it always will be, unfortunately.
We will
Palace
see.
Way.
We will see. But Terry, yes, well, you heard Craig's audition for the fridge advert there. But I'll play this for you, Terry. Yeah, it wasn't particularly loud, but it was "We Want Rodgers Out." Nottingham Forest fan, who I'd said I did quite like earlier. I'm going off him very quickly again. He's gone 3-0 Palace.
But I don't like this. When people put us as the favourites, we lose. So put it this way. Everyone's saying that we're going to win. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if we lose.
I'm actually doing a radio show tomorrow at 6:00, and I was getting some songs ready to sort of play in Leicester's predicament at the moment. And I started off with Rock Bottom by Lindsay DePaul and Paul Moran, a Eurovision song, and the Hollies, I Can't Tell the Bottom from the Top. And I don't think you could argue with either of those.
Jordan, look, in there, Chris.
Oh, it was just, I could have a 4-hour show, couldn't I? Could do a radiothon.
Down, deeper and down.
Exactly. Look, Jordan, thank you so much for coming on.
No worries.
I can't wish you luck at all because I would be totally lying. I can't even say may the best team win. I can't even say let's hope football's the winner. Fuck to all of those. I just hope Leicester are. I haven't been asked yet, but
Sorry, my phone went off.
What have I pressed there? I never want my team to lose to get rid of a manager, so I still want Leicester to win. Have a safe journey. Are you going to watch it, did you say?
Yes, I think everyone from Eagle-Eyed Football will be there. So,
that's doubling the crowd then.
Me, Rich, Nate. I think Nicky's going, and I know Statman Dan's going. And hopefully after the game, we'll have a review and we'll have a tactical out where we go through the tactics and how the game was played, where we either lost it or where we won it, or how it was a draw.
Well, have a safe journey, whatever. Just tell everybody again, links in below. I've probably got Nate's name down. I'm not sure. I'll double check it afterwards. But please tell everybody where they can find you.
So they can find us on Eagle-Eyed Football on YouTube, at Eagle-Eyed Ball on Twitter, and I think it's just Eagle-Eyed Football on Instagram as well. I think we're on Twitch as well, I think.
Just search Eagle-Eyed, you are going to find it.
Eagle-Eyed Football, you'll see us.
Yeah, and they're all coming in upside down by Diana Ross, says Terry. Oh, yeah. I'm making myself depressed. I bet all the best as a safe travels. Hang on, we've got the Tinder man coming. Let me just block him. I thought it was going too well. I'll no doubt speak to you after, and I might come on for the return leg, but not after what you told me earlier.
We'll see how you do in your predictions. If it's bad, then we'll see.
I've covered myself really, haven't I? All the best, mate. Take care.
Up the Palace. Eagle!
Yeah, he did that to me earlier. He did that, and then he fucked off. Oh, I like it. Craig, we're going to do very, very quickly, pick his team, and then we will let you go and have your cocoa and get your slippers on.
Broadcasting live from Trump Towers.
Wait a minute.
Now, hear this.
I'm Donald Trump, and this is not fake news. It is Leicester Till I Die Radio, the ultimate blend of sport and music.
No.
Indeed. Mixcloud.com/LTID radio. Mixcloud.com/LTID radio. Or you can just go onto the website, leicestertillidie.com/radio, and the link's in there as well. So let's get this up and let us go for this team. So very quickly, we never know, do we? Are you now? Last week, I think you changed to Everson, didn't you? And it didn't happen.
I don't like this formation either, Chris. Just to
4-3-3. Not
I want to go back to my diamond. I'm going to keep doing it now until he plays it.
Right, and that was a 4.
It was like a 4-1-2-1-2, something like that.
I don't think we had. Did we have that?
Yeah. We had it the week before. This is the first one last week when we had this formation. Because we'd actually won the game. It might be a 4-4-2 diamond kind of thing. Go on, Chris. You can do it. No. Nope. No, it's interesting. I wonder if Brendan knows there are other formations. Yeah, that'll do, that one.
I think when we've done it before, it's always been a case of possible, That said, though, I can go onto the internet and look and discover that we have conceded goals more after the 60th minute, but apparently Brendan doesn't realise that.
No.
So we've gone back to this formation. So just shows how unprepared I was. I thought, okay, you went for this last week. Now then, what are you going to go? I mean, we've got the debate show tomorrow night and question time. And it is very much led by viewers' questions. They come in the chat and they ask the questions, and we will answer as best we can. But we always do start it off with the first question. And it's very apt, so it gives me a chance to promote the show. 9 o'clock tomorrow on this channel, question time. And the first question that I am going to pose, like I say, just to kick everything off, no pun intended, is Kasper taking back, yes or no? So that's going to be interesting. But obviously, whatever happens, that's going to be January. Do we start with Ward? Are we still sticking with him, or are we going for Mr. Everson?
I'm going to put Everson in. And you know what? I'm quite surprised that Brendan hasn't, because Brendan likes excuses. And he could turn around and say, well, you all wanted Everson in goal, and if we lost and he messed up, then he's got the perfect excuse to say, well, I'm giving the fans what they want. But
yeah,
I think it's time. Whatever you think of Ward, it's all about confidence for me. And that back four and a goalkeeper has to have confidence in each other, and I don't think they do. So it has to be a unit, and it doesn't look like a unit. And I think that's one of the big reasons why we're conceding so many goals. A strong defensive unit of your defenders and goalkeeper don't concede as many goals as we are.
Well, let's say it, the answer, of course, always is, would it be worse? And the answer is no. Well, the worst that can happen is that we can lose the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so, okay. One of the easier defensive positions I get is going to be the left back. And I'm guessing, I don't know, because with Castagna possibly out of it. I mean, I was on the channel earlier with like I say, Eagle-Eyed Football with Jordan, and they do a combined 11, which I'm never particularly happy to do because I don't know enough about the opposition players. But I could only put up an argument for 4 Leicester players. One of them was James Justin. I guess you're going to pick him, but are you going to put him on the left or with a question mark over Castagna on the right?
I'm going to put him on the left because I think Castagna will play. If Castagna was out, then he'd switch to the right and Thomas would be left back, I would imagine. But I think Castagna will play, so I think it's James Justin and Castagna as fullbacks.
I didn't see. I refused to watch the because I normally do a show with Brad where we go back and look at the press conference, but to be quite honest with you, it's the same BS week in, week out. So I'm thinking, why waste an hour of my life doing that? So I haven't even watched it this week. So I'm only going off sort of the brief bits I've seen. Is Castagna likely to play? I thought there was some question over
it sounded like he's going to be okay, to be honest.
Okay, well, we'll put him in. I mean, fingers crossed. I hope the guy is.
Yeah, there was a couple of question marks over players who didn't seem to have trained a lot this week. So I'm having to use that information.
Yes, of course,
to put this team together.
Yes.
There would be some changes if everyone was fit. It would be a different team. I'm going to assume that Johnny will play because I think he'll play Johnny unless he's on one leg. I think he'll play Johnny, so I think it'll be Johnny on the left and Farce on the right.
But do you think? Oops, hang on.
That doesn't matter either way around. They're capable of conceding whichever side they play.
This is true. I can't be asked to swap it round. That's the worry is again this dangerous red area that they talk about. That if he's not fully fit, are we going to make it worse and lose him for longer?
Probably. I mean, for me, as I said, I would like to see Soyuncu and Farce. I'd be more than happy to do that. It's like up front, you've got to have partnerships. You need partnerships all the way through, particularly the spot. Through the spine, 2 up front has to be a partnership. The centre halves have to be a partnership. The fullbacks and whoever's playing in front of them have to be partnerships. it's only with that level of playing together and consistency that these partnerships come. We saw it when we won the league. That team hardly changed. Once he'd got that settled side, it picked itself.
Yes.
We need to be getting to a point where a team picks itself.
Yes.
But he chops and changes so much.
If it picked itself, we'd probably have a more regular decisions.
Yeah.
Jordan's just message there it was brilliant to have you on, mate. Thank you so much for coming on. Love the channel, Eagle-Eyed Football Guy, one of the great opposition channels. Whether you love Palace or not, just join them. They are such a laugh. Well, the only ginger in the village has come in. Dan's in. Well, hey, it's the two old blokes in from the Opera House in the Muppets, but in real life. Coming from Miss Piggy, I'm going to say that is very, very look in the mirror, mate. Oh dear.
How you doing, Dan? Hope you're well, mate.
True Red, with Casper gone, you're clearly missing. We're missing his leadership. We are missing his leadership. Everybody's saying hello to everybody else, having a bit of a love-in. Taking Leicester City's place. Well, I wouldn't speak too soon. Dan. It's a marathon, not a sprint, you know. Now, if Blackburn was to take our place, I'd be happy with that. Because they're a proper northern team that have won the Premier League. In fact, they're the only team, I was checking this earlier, how sad is this? They're the only team, Craig, that have won the Premier League and then got relegated.
Yeah, long may that continue, eh?
Well, exactly, but unfortunately, I think not. Yeah, all these other teams that got relegated never actually won the Premier League, like Burnley. Okay, so anyway, let's leave Burnley alone. They're just a small bus stop outside Blackburn. Right, central midfielder now. Ndidi, possibly still injured. Is he Mendy? I mean, to my mind, I'm loving Sumari.
Are you? Okay.
You're not, by the sound of it.
No, I read that Mendy hadn't trained a lot this week, so I can't see him coming in. It didn't sound like indeed he was going to be back anytime soon. So yeah, Samari. Yeah, I didn't see the game. I only saw the highlights of Bournemouth, so I can't really comment. But when Samari came on against Forest, he did really well. And he's clearly got something. So he just needs more minutes on the pitch, and I think we'll see what sort of player he is. But yeah, Samari in as that defensive mid. As
always, I never know how to get his details
you
up.
Don't, do you?
No, it's because I think I've got to put Boubakary in first, and I can never spell that. Boubakary. Oh, you seen that? I can't remember how. I don't think he's actually on here, is he? Do we have this trouble every week, don't we?
We do.
I tell you what, I'm going to, as I always do, I think, on this.
You're going to put anyone in there, aren't you?
Yeah, who looks like him?
Steady.
There we go. It's Samari, Your Samari, my Samari. It's a Samari. That's all that matters. I think I know who's going to the left of him. Would it be Mr. Dewsbury Hall?
It is Dewsbury Hall, yeah. It is. He's a little bit up and down this season, but again, I don't think we're blessed at the moment with alternatives. People who could come in are, seem to be carrying knocks. So we do seem to be a little bit limited.
Yes.
On the right, it's going to be Tielemans, but if Pratt had trained all week, then I'd have put Pratt in. But apparently, again, like Mendy, neither of them have trained a lot, or so we're being told.
It's thing we are being told. You are my Dewsbury Hall. Very kind of you to say, Gray. I quite like you as well. Where are we? Anybody else putting any proper comments in, Dan? Yeah, you sprinted to the shop for a marathon, and you came out with about 5. Hey, Give me a Twix. Okay, let's have a look. Ada put Pratt in. Chris makes his debut for LCFC. Oh, Dan. How's life going on in the second tier for you this season? Of course, you got a game. You've got a game midweek next week, haven't you? These midweek games that you've got to have when you're in the championship. Oh, yeah. Right. Centre midfield. It's got to be one man.
Of course it has. Central attacking Maddison. Yeah.
Do you think he's developing a more free role?
Well, he's not, because he's being forced to play out wide. But although he does drift inside, which means you're a little bit lopsided, and particularly.
But when he's played that central role, I like it, and I think it does give him the chance to have a free role, which I think suits his game.
And particularly with with doing two up front with who I'm going to put in there, the guy who I will put on the right hand side of that likes drifting out to the right and cutting in off his left anyway. So it makes that front line more mobile and less easy for defenders to pick players up. Defenders love statues. That's why Vardy's not getting a sniff out of anybody at the moment, because he doesn't seem to move. So we've got to get two up front and be more mobile going forward, I think.
So on the right up front.
So so Daka and Iheanacho are the two up front for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we've got Leeds midweek. Yeah. We know that Vardy will be brought on depending on how the game is going.
I think obviously if we need to concede, then we can bring Vardy and Amati on.
There we go. Do you know? I like two up front. We've played two. We've played two up front before. And okay, you might argue, well, it's going back to the 4-4 bloody and all that. It isn't, but why is he just so stubborn?
Because his team revolves around Barnes. That's the bottom line for me. It seems to be that Barnes is the first person on the team sheet, and then he tries to fit everyone else in around it. And we know Barnes can be brilliant. When he has his moments, he can be brilliant. But too often he's not, and the rest of the team is suffering, and we saw it when Barnes was injured. We had two up front, and we looked a lot more threatening that second half of the season. So,
yeah, Brighton we played two up front, says Gray.
We did, and they both scored.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Again, I always remember the Ozzy Ardila's Tottenham team. I think he had about 5 strikers.
Yeah.
Again, defensively crap, but you score 3, we're going to score 4. Now, at the moment, we're doing all right scoring. We'll say, well, we'll score 3, but you'll get 5.
I'm going to say, if you're going to take that route, then we might as well just play 5 at the back and 1 up front. If we can't keep clean sheets. We apart from Forest, we do concede all the time. So we have to take a view that we need to outscore the opposition.
Sensible question from Dan here before I come on to my last one for you. Has Vardy with age become more of a ball to feet player rather than off the shoulder of the last defender?
Potentially, Dan. Potentially, I don't think for me, he's been told the past 2 seasons by Brendan to conserve his energy and play in bursts. But he doesn't seem to do it. He's not offering, Vardy is an absolute legend at the club and always will be, but he frustrates me so much. At the moment, I watch him, as I say, and I speak to people. I had a period of playing up front, and that when your right back and your left back are in are looking for an out ball. If you're playing with one up front, you have to be the out ball, and he's not interested. He's not interested in making channel runs anymore. He'll make the odd one or two, and people will say yes, but you know he got an assist against Forest because he ran into a channel. And I had it with my brother goes down and watches it, and he may be watching today, and we disagreed completely this week when he said
no,
why was he taking Vardy off, and I was like, I thought he was awful. But
this is it. People are out there absolutely having a go at Ward because of his goalkeeping. Vardy's not scored.
Yeah. He's not scored and he's not offered much at all.
No. I mean, you know, he's played 9 games, and this is on the Leicester City website, so I'm not, you know, going anywhere and spoilers at all. But he's played 9 games, he's scored nothing, he's got 3 assists. To my mind, that's a player that should be benched. But we won't hear a word against him.
Either benched or played up front alongside someone else, you know, to take that burden off him. I mean, let's face it. Jamie's life hasn't been a bowl of roses recently, has it? You know, everything that's happening at the club this season, it's tough. It's under pressure. He feels under pressure. He had a couple of efforts against Forest. You could see that he's not playing with a lot of confidence. You know, God knows what his home life must be like at the minute, with his wife throwing his millions down the drain at lawyers and God knows what. It'd be interesting to see if he's going to, if somebody's going to play Jamie in this new TV drama that they're putting together of the court case. That'll be interesting.
Probably Michael Sheen. He plays all the those sort of parts, doesn't he?
But I think if you're playing Jamie, it's got to be in a 2. I don't think going back down to your question, I don't think he's got it in the legs anymore to be the Vardy that we all know and loved for so many years.
Gray says there the difference is Vardy is proven and Ward isn't. Well, okay, taking that on board, Gray, let's put Gary Lineker up front on Friday because he's proven.
Yeah. We take it. You can clearly, we take your point. I think Ward isn't proven, but then you can't prove yourself. The flip side is you can't prove yourself unless you play.
No.
And Ward hasn't had a long run of games. For me, it's just an issue of they don't look confident in between each other, and so you have to make changes. You know, we're talking about Top having the bottle to make tough decisions. I'm not sure Brendan's showing that he's got the bottle to make tough decisions.
Yes, yeah. Turf kind of makes the point I was just going to make there, is that, you know, everybody's blaming Ward and everybody's saying, oh, Casper this, Casper that, and yet things are that bad at Nice that there's rumours of him being let go there in January. We'll talk about that more tomorrow. But a goalkeeper is only as good as the defence in front of him. You know, yes, if he's a fairly decent goalkeeper, he will save the odd penalty here and there or in penalty shootouts. But if the defence in front of you is absolutely shit, you can't save everything coming at you.
No, you can't. You know, and it's, as I say, it's not that Ward is a bad goalkeeper at the minute. For me, it's just there is a lack of confidence between them as a unit. And you need to have that confidence. You know, it has to work as a unit. And we've talked about this in the past. And, you know, it's not just here. We've seen it in lots of clubs. When keepers are going through bad patches, then sometimes you just have to take them out for their own good. You know, Kepa at Chelsea has got back in at Chelsea now with Mendy not playing particularly well. So Mendy's been taken out. Kepa was the same. He went through a bad patch and he was taken out. Sometimes you have to take them out for their own good, because another dodgy performance, what's that going to do for his confidence? So I think he's got to find a way of getting these units to work as a unit, to be solid, and then give you a platform to go on and win games.
Yeah. If you missed it at the beginning there, my new friend, Mini-Me, just there. Thanks to Dan for doing that for me. He's even got the top right as well. Well done, Dan. Thanks a lot for that, mate. I absolutely love it. last question for you then. Man City are coming up. If Ward is this bad, I'll say bad, that's being unfair to him. If Ward is so low on confidence at the moment, do you take him out the firing line? But then if you put Everson in, especially if it's probably his first game, if we haven't, won any of the others and we've lost badly, he could get absolutely mullered by Haaland.
Yeah, I don't think
it will do nothing for him.
Yeah, if Ward plays the next 2 games, then he'll play against Man City. I think now is if you're going to make a change, now is the time to make the change. You've got 2 home games to bed him in. I don't think you make the change when it's Man City.
No, that's fine. I did say it was the last one, but I'm going to sneak another one in quickly. Casper back, yes or no?
How about this as a scenario? Casper plays in the World Cup. Casper announces his retirement from football after the World Cup, is appointed the week after as manager.
No. I honestly thought you were going to go down the line of Casper will be appointed as part of the goalkeeper coaching team to get him back into the fold. And I would have bitten your hand off for that because we miss his. I'm not saying we miss his because he didn't have a good season last year. I don't care what anybody says.
No.
So I don't think we miss him as a goalkeeper. Obviously, it's not good for Ward, but we miss his voice. We miss his leadership. And to have him, can you imagine him and Huth, getting you, have a word over here, Ward. I mean, that's what we're missing.
Yeah, but how much of a voice has a goalkeeper coach got? An influence on the team? Not a lot to me. And then he's on the bench. What's he going to do? Be undermining Rodgers?
No, I wouldn't have to say
he won't be quiet.
I wouldn't have him as a player because, like you say,
that's what I mean. You say he comes back as an influence. How much influence can you get from that point of view? I take it, and I agree with you. I think we miss his influence. I think we're missing characters at the club. We're getting to a point where we were missing characters on the pitch. I think we're now at a point where we're missing characters around the club, and that's even worse. And that may be what's adding to this, because those new leaders, there are no leaders, are there?
No.
You look around, there are no leaders.
No. But can you? I don't know if you ever remember. It was James Corden as Smithy doing the coaches award thing at the award ceremony. But you can imagine them all sat there, and Robert Huth walks in, just to give them a pep talk. That's the sort of thing. I mean, surely that when you've got a player like Huth, you're gonna have to use him. So if you're not using him for that every now and again, you're missing a door for me.
But you've got to remember that the man in charge is Brendan, and Brendan won't let anyone have a louder voice than Brendan.
That is the point. You see, everything we come up with, the problem is, what are we going to do with a problem like Brenda? That's the question. Craig, you're going to be going to the match at the weekend. Well, we must try and get a live link and see if we can get you on maybe afterwards more than during, because I know the signal's awful. But,
the signal's terrible at the King Power.
We haven't got, because of some hospital appointments I've got coming up, and Brad's in traveling and what have you. So we're not going to be doing a post-match show on Saturday night. We're going to be doing an extended watch along. Doug's going to be joining me on that. So we'll be going on a bit longer. So it would be great to have you on, win, lose, draw from your car. Still do your little thing if by all means. But it'd be great to have you on live. All the best to all the family. Stay safe, mate. Thank you as always for coming on, and of course telling it as it is. Take care.
Cheers, Chris. Cheers, everyone. Good night.
Cheers. Thank you. Cheers to Craig. As I always say, my wise old owl. What a man. He knows his stuff. He knows his stuff. And he has to go along every other week and watch Leicester as well. At least I don't have to do that. I wouldn't have him necessarily on the pitch side. I really, because I think that is undermining Brendan. But I would certainly want him to come in every now and again on the on the team talks, or not necessarily a team talk, and certainly not on tactics, because like him or not, Brendan is the manager, and what he says goes on, whether we agree with it or not. He's the manager, and whilst he's being the manager, no, you shouldn't have anybody else coming in. It's like, I've done this because I've actually been a coach for my son's football team. I always say a McDonald's stage 1 football coach, which is basically an enthusiastic dad. And you tell a player, a 10, 11, 12-year-old, right, this is what we want you to do. And then you've got the dad on the side of the pitch that's shouting him and telling him you should be out there. And we're saying, like, fuck off. We've told him to stay central. And that is what you don't need. So whoever is manager, Brendan or not, his voice is the one that should be heard. His voice is the one that should be in control. He's the manager. However, to get him in, and Casper, Wes Morgan, to get these guys in, Jerry Taggart, to give pep talks. Surely that's what we need. Surely that can't do any harm. But certainly, I'm not mock bitch side, but certainly. Look, guys, it's been a long one tonight. Many, many thanks to Jordan. Eagle-Eyed Football, check them out. Thank you to my little mini-me. Hello, mini-me. That's the microphone. That's mini-me. I need to put him on the other side, don't I? That's what I need to do. We'll leave him up. Why not? He keeps me company. Thank you so much for watching. If you have been new and you've enjoyed it, thank you very much. Please subscribe. If you are subscribed, please click that like button. Oh, what have we got? We've got so much coming up over the weekend. I can hardly keep up. Tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, mixcloud.com/LTID radio, or go to the website, Leicester, all the W's, LeicesterTillIDie.com/radio. We're doing a show. This is going to be the weekend review, so we're going to be looking ahead to the weekend, the games, playing some music, just looking for a co-host for that at the moment. 9 p.m, we've got question time. Your show, your agenda. Whatever questions you are asking in the chat, myself, David, and Brad would attempt to answer. But as always, like I say, I try and just kick it off, get it going, get a conversation going. And of course, the question we're starting off this week is, should we have Casper back? Saturday, 12 o'clock. It's the Watch Along show with a 12:30 kickoff. It's the Saturday morning. If it was Sunday morning, we could, of course, be singing Easy Like Sunday Morning for Rich Eagle-Eyed, but it's Saturday morning. But I've got Doug joining me there for that watch along, so great to have him in. Like I say, at the moment, there's no post-match because Brad, he's been spending some family time and he's travelling home. But Brad will be available and joining us 11 o'clock Sunday morning for the analysis show. And then at 1:30, we've got the watch along for the women when they travel to Manchester City to play. Yeah, that's another one that's behind the sofa. And then 9 o'clock, you can't see her, but you'll be able to hear her. The Battle of the Sexes. It's the intro quiz at mixcloud.com/Leicester Till I Die radio. It's Dan versus Kate, Mr. versus Mrs., with the winner going through to the final to play non-binary. Who knows the more about their intros? Dan's shouting out loud from the rooftops. Kate is nervous, but Kate, you never know. You never know. You will have a whole show, well, on and off, with it's a quiz of Kate's voice to keep you going there. That's 9 o'clock on Sunday. Niall's there going like, what am I doing Sunday night? What am I doing Sunday? Let me get in. Renee as well, probably. Kate's going down about time. You had your birthday recently, didn't you? You take the show down. I don't know about anything else. But so really busy weekend. Takes my mind off things, which is really good. Next week, I've got a few personal appointments. So next week's shows are all going to be up in the air, depending when, where, what, how, and all that shit. I've got to go because in 15 minutes, I'm doing a pre-record for Paul Ross on Talk Sport. And I'm going to try and sound excited about Leicester hosting. I can't even get my words out. Leicester hosting Crystal Palace. It ain't going to happen. Thanks very much for watching. If you have been, really do appreciate it. Thank you, Gray. Take care to everybody as well. Everybody that's been in the chat, brilliant. Ziv has just arrived just as we've go in. So sorry, Ziv. Play it back from the start. Give us a subscribe. Click on that notification bell and you will never miss another one. Well, the second Ginger Mourinho versus the boss of the house. that's got it right. Could be interesting. Get that settee ready. Set that settee. Although, if Kate's going down anyway, it's a win-win for Dan. Scott's coming in just as we are going as well. Have you got a letter, Scott, from you? Have fun on tonight, Chris. Thank you. Like I say, it's a pre-record, so it's less pressure off and what have you. And Paul Ross, brother of Jonathan Ross, does the overnight show. So I'm not sure what time it's going to be on live, possibly 2 a.m, something like that. But yeah, looking forward to that. I've done them before. He's a great laugh, is Paul Ross. Really nice guy. If you've been listening on the podcast, thank you very much for lending me your ears. You can have them back now and go and clean them out. Don't forget, subscribe, like, click the notifications, do the whole caboodle, because that is what makes me happy. And let's face it, I haven't got a lot to be happy about at the moment, have I? But if you can do all of that below there, I would be ecstatic and it would make me so happy. So basically, you'll hear me tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, mixcloud.com/LTID radio. A weekend preview of the matches, just trying to get a co-host, like I say. And then 9 o'clock, the show where you take the lead, you set the agenda, and that is question time. It's been a pleasure. Thanks to Jordan earlier. Thanks to Craig for coming on as well. Stay safe, everybody. Don't do anything I wouldn't enjoy. Leaves it wide open, isn't it? I'll see you in one form or another tomorrow. Good night.
That's all, folks.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
Leicester Till I Die TV. They think it's all over. It is now.